Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder. Today we're diving into a report. So detailed it's like trying to assemble furniture from IKEA without the instructions. But don't worry, we'll break it down together. We're decoding Stonepeak-Plus Infrastructure Fund's latest filing, where they talk about selling a whole bunch of units and appointing new board members. So let's get started. And hey, if you're liking getting straight insights from these corporate documents, make sure you're subscribed. We also have a Discord community linked in the description below. Join us. First up, let's talk about some sales. The Stonepeak-Plus Infrastructure Fund, which they call the fund, sold a bunch of unregistered limited partnership units. Think of these units like shares in a private company not available on public stock exchanges. The total value of these units sold was about $286,023.40, $3.1731. That's a lot of money. They give us a table breaking down the different types of units they sold. It is important to know where the money is coming from to know where their priorities lie. Let's look at Class A1A. They sold 8,358 units for around $248 dollars unfum sold was the Class A variety. So we can derive that this is who they are currently prioritizing. Now, Class X, they sold 94,423 of these for approximately $2,680. Not as much as Class A, but still significant. There's also a note explaining that the fund invests alongside another vehicle, which basically means another fund managed by their investment advisor. Both funds have similar goals. They call them together SP TOS INFAR. Think of this as a sister fund working towards the same objective. The final number of units sold was calculated at the very end of June after figuring out the transactional net asset value, or NAV, for Class X as of the end of May. The price for the other classes of units, A1A, A1B, A1C, and F1, was based on this Class X NAV. Is like figuring out the value of a company's assets minus its debts to find out what each share or unit is worth. These unit sales were done as a private offering and didn't need to be registered with the Securities and Exchange Commission, thanks to some rules called Section 4A, 2, and Regulation D. Basically, these rules let companies sell securities to certain investors without all the usual paperwork. The different classes of units, A1A, A1B, A1C, and F1, went to outside investors. Some were even sold through another partnership called Stonepeak-Plus Infrastructure Fund, TLP, which caters to investors with specific tax situations like those who don't pay taxes or are from outside the US. Class X units were sold to the company's officers, advisors, and employees of the investment advisors affiliates. As of early June, SP TOS INFRA, including the fund, had sold interest worth about $373,731.01, and since they started in May, they've sold a total of about $436,821 in interest. That's a lot of capital raised in a short amount of time. Now, let's move on to some changes in leadership. On July 2, 2025, they added Cyrus Gentry and Robert Soderberry to the fund's board of directors. Cyrus Gentry is the Chief Executive Officer of the fund and will now also be a director. He's a big player at Stonepeak Partners, involved in digital infrastructure investments. This means he is very experienced in the field and will likely push for investments which support the infrastructures. Robert Soderberry will serve as an independent director on the board. He also got appointed to the audit committee. This means that he is not an employee and has some experience which qualifies him to do an audit. Interestingly, Mr. Gentry also sits on South Street Seaport Museum Board in New York and manages the Church of England's money. Sounds like he is involved in a lot of social activities. Mr. Soderberry used to be an executive at Western Digital and has advised Rockwell Automation. He's also involved in a consulting and investment firm. It seems he likes to stay involved in many projects. Neither of them have any conflicts of interest we need to worry about, it seems. Mr. Soderberry will get the standard compensation for independent directors, which is described in their earlier filing called Form 10. Think of Form 10 as a more expanded version of the 8K report we are looking at. The transactional leave per unit for Class X units as of May 31, 2025 is 25.77 cents. In other words, each Class X unit was valued at that price at the end of May. They calculate this NAV to set the price for buying and selling the fund's units. The NAV is based on the value of the fund's investments plus any other assets minus what they owe, including fees and expenses. Alright, so what do we make of all this? Stonepeak-Plus Infrastructure Fund is actively raising capital and solidifying its leadership to continue investing in infrastructure projects. With big names on the board and a lot of money flowing in, they are aiming for growth. But let's consider the risks. A lot of their success depends on how well those infrastructure investments perform, which is hard to predict. In conclusion, Stonepeak-Plus Infrastructure Fund appears to be in a strong position to pursue its investment strategy, but it is crucial to keep an eye on how their investments are performing and how well they keep those costs under control. Alright, that's our breakdown of Stonepeak-Plus Infrastructure Fund LP's latest filing. What's your take on these numbers and what they signal for the company's future? Drop your thoughts in the comments. If this analysis was valuable, hitting that like button really helps, and subscribe for more deep dives. Don't forget to check out the Discord in the description. Thanks for watching. See you next time.